What's going on, guys? This is the New Equity Connections podcast. Your host, Ian Starkey. Today, I'm hanging out with a good friend of mine and my mentor, Tim Bratz. Tim Bratz has built an incredible portfolio, incredible business for himself at a very young age for as much wealth as he's built already. I greatly admire the guy. I joined his course about a year ago today, almost a little over a year ago, and man, it was just leaps and bounds and just so much knowledge, so much great content and connections, and really kind of set me on my path. So having you here today, Tim, it's getting a little goosebumps right now.
Well, dude, I appreciate you having me, man. I'm excited to be here, sharing any sort of value that I possibly can. And I think it's awesome what you're doing. I think, you paying it forward and helping people out with, not only their business, but their life is pretty remarkable. So, dude, I'm excited, man.
Absolutely. So if you could tell people, just kind of, for those of you who don't know who Tim is, if you could tell people kind of who you are, what you have going on now, and let's just start from there.
Yeah, man. I mean, high level, I'm an apartment investor. So
Mhm.
I live in Charleston, South Carolina. I split my time. I'm up here in Cleveland, Ohio right now, which is where I'm originally from. And my focus is commercial real estate, and about 95% of that is apartments. I do own some like self-storage facilities. I own some office buildings. I own some vacation rentals,
Mhm.
but 95% of my portfolio is apartments, B class, blue collar apartments. I own a little over $400 million worth of real estate. So about 4,800 units on average, or right around there, a little over 4,800 doors.
Mhm.
But that number changes, man. I'm selling stuff, I'm buying stuff, and it changes all the time. So, yeah, how did I get started though? Didn't start there, right? I started out, going through college, '03 to '07, and just realized everybody's making money in real estate. So the market was going crazy. I decided I want to move from Ohio out to New York City because that's where my brother was living at the time. And I thought you got involved in real estate by getting your real estate license. So I got my real estate license, somehow parked it with a commercial brokerage and did more like on the investment side versus the residential side.
Mhm.
And just saw how much money after leasing a couple of like retail and office spaces, saw how much money there was in owning real estate instead of brokering real estate.
Mhm.
And I was like, dude, I need to be an owner. So I moved down to Charleston, South Carolina, just on a
Mhm.
whim. Didn't know anybody, didn't know anything about the area, just kind of wanted some better quality of life and weather. And went through that whole analysis paralysis phase and just studied, bought courses, watched the gurus, and subscribed to all these different content type of video blogs and all that stuff. And dude, just realized that I wasn't going to learn how to swim, right, by reading about swimming in a book. I needed to actually jump in the water. And I think
Yeah.
real estate's the same way. I needed to actually jump in and do a deal. And the only dilemma was that was like fall of 2008, and the entire market collapsed in
Yeah.
that time. The good news was all these deals were coming online at like super cheap, crazy cheap prices.
Mhm.
The dilemma was very opposite of today's market, right? Today there's no deals and money everywhere. Back then there was
Mhm.
deals everywhere and zero money. Like nobody wanted to lend on real estate. Everybody was losing their ass in real estate. Not everybody, but people who bought for speculation and bought at retail prices and hoped tomorrow the property would be worth more than it was today, and all those kinds of things. Those people were losing their tail. And so that's what you read about in the news, which scared the hell out of everybody else.
Mhm.
But it created some opportunity, right? Instead of looking at the obstacle, I looked at the opportunity and called up my credit card company, got them to increase my credit limit, and I just bought a house on my credit card. And I physically did the work to it, and I flipped it all out in about 110 days and made like 13 or 14 grand. And I was like, holy shit, like this works, right? I don't know what I'm doing. It's the worst market ever.
Yeah.
I'm a punk 23-year-old kid, and it's my first deal. And somehow made a bunch of money. It was the biggest check I ever made up to that point in my life. And
Mhm.
so I did it again, got into wholesaling, really liked wholesaling, and got to meet a lot of people through wholesaling and through like the real estate investors associations and stuff that they saw my work ethic. They saw that I was willing to do the work and roll up my sleeves and get my hands dirty, and I could find good deals, and I saw the opportunity and a lot of that. And then they saw potential in me, and they ended up lending private money. They said, "Hey, man, you got the time, you got the bandwidth, I got the money. Let's just do some deals together." And so, you start building up a little bit of portfolio, and Did some of that and started chasing shiny objects because I thought I had everything figured out. I went, I sold my real estate to go chase some other opportunities, went totally broke in 2012 and pressed the reset button in like fall of 2012 and got back into real estate because that's what I had it figured out in real estate. So went and did it again and, built a portfolio over the course of like 3 years with some exclusive partners. That partnership ended up just kind of going separate ways. We had to liquidate about 140 doors that I had built up. And I was like, son of a bitch, dude, I just built this whole thing up.
Yeah.
I got to press the reset button again in 2015, 2016. But it was a huge blessing, right? It opened me up to go partner with new people, bring on private money, just created new opportunities for me to get into deals that I couldn't have gotten into before. And, so I got into the flipping again. Turnkey was like my big thing was turnkey rentals. Did that for a few years, started a management company, I've done it all, man. And by 2017, I just realized like apartments is where I needed to be. It was the highest amount of scale or the greatest amount of scale for what my goals and my ambitions were, and just met and aligned with what I wanted to do long-term. And so went all in on apartments in 2017. And over the course of the next, again, several years, grew my portfolio to almost 5,000 doors today. And, it's cool, right?
Dude, that's awesome.
You're like, oh man, that's amazing. Like what you've done in a few years, but realize like I started in real estate in 2005, started investing in 2009, got my first apartment in 2012, pressed reset multiple times along the way. And, it's not an overnight success story. It's a lot of dots in an impressionist painting that create the entire picture, and learned a lot along the way, refined. I think it was good. It was like I was aware enough and self-aware and socially aware and emotionally intelligent enough to reflect on what worked and what didn't work, and doubling down on the things that did work and eliminating the things that did not work. And, just doing a lot of that kind of stuff that helped me accelerate my growth. And the biggest one was joining a mastermind, dude. It was getting around like-minded people and accelerating the growth through their resources and their learning curves, which I didn't have to go through necessarily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think I never quite realized the full picture. You initially started, you said back in 2005. You did a flip, you started doing flips from a credit card, maxed out a credit card, and then did a flip, made money, paid it back, kept doing that. And then when you veered off, came back again, partnership came across. So I didn't realize you hit 3 resets. That's new to me. That's awesome. I thought it
wasn't awesome going through it, but it's okay looking back now. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it was like hindsight's 2020, and I wouldn't be a good steward of capital that I am today if I didn't go broke back in 2012, right? If I wasn't, I was trying to sell the Walmart and IKEA side tables in my living room on Craigslist for $5 to $10 just to be able to buy food, right? And to be able to I couldn't make the minimum payment on my credit card. I had $80 in my bank account. I had $25,000, $24,970 on my credit card, and the minimum payment was like $700 or $800, whatever it was. And I had to borrow money to make the mortgage payment on my house and to make the minimum payment on my credit card. And I was eating soup out of a can. I just eat peanut butter. That was it, because I went back to eating ramen noodles. So like, if I didn't go through that, like I think there's some mistakes you got to make in order to really appreciate what you've got in the future. So the good news is I made those mistakes relatively on a small scale compared to what I'm doing today. I'd rather do it with $25,000 of credit card debt instead of $2.5 million of unsecured, debt. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a muscle, dude. You got to start out small. You got to bench press 100 pounds before you can go and bench press 200 or 250 or 300 pounds. And so that was always like the mindset, man. I just kept my head down. I just kept on working. I knew real estate wasn't an experiment. I knew eventually it would work. It would pay off. It was just a matter of time. And I knew people who were dumber than me that were making a lot of money. So I was like, dude, they're making money. I'm going to get rich doing this. Right. And so that was the belief that I borrowed, man.
Mm-hmm. No, that's awesome. And seriously, dude, I mean, what you've built now, besides just the portfolio, but legacy boardroom, commercial empire, I mean, it's it's empowering. It's empowering guys like me, young guys like me. It's empowering guys in their 40s or 50s, that have kind of scratched their head, been like, oh, I want to do real estate, but I don't know how. Let me go back to making money. I mean, it's really like you literally, I tell people about it. I'm like, he opens up his entire playbook and his entire team to you. And it's like hitting the NOS button. It's like if you're driving in a quarter-mile race, you just press that NOS and you're, boom, like we're here. It's awesome, man. Seriously.
Well, I think a lot of people, dude, it's a mindset thing, right? And like I worked on my mindset way more than I ever worked on my business, especially early on, of just pouring good stuff into my brain. Listening to people like Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar and John Maxwell and all these guys, and just working on the mindset, and then from there, dude, and part of that mindset is the abundance mentality, right? A lot of people have scarcity mindset. They're like, dude, I'm not going to share my secrets. Like, why would I share my secrets? And a lot of people ask me, like, dude, this guy's sharing his secrets. Why the hell would he ever do that? And blah, blah, blah. And, it must be a scam or something. I'm like, dude, there are over 2.5 million doors. No shit, it's 2.5 million properties in the United States that are multifamily properties. 2 units and bigger. There's about, I think it's 700,000 of those are commercial, or 800,000, something like that, are commercial that are 5 units and bigger. So obviously there's a lot of duplexes and that kind of stuff. But there's still 700,000 doors. You know how many I own? Dude, I have a ridiculous lifestyle, right? I have a ridiculous house in the mountains. I have a oceanfront house in Charleston, South Carolina. I can go and hang out and travel anywhere I want around the world at any time. And I'm not saying that to like brag or pound my chest. All I'm saying is like I own for a fraction of 4,800 doors. I own about 30% of my overall portfolio, and that's the lifestyle it gives me. You know how many actual units I own, or how many apartment buildings, properties I actually own? I don't know, like 65. Right? There's over 800,000 out there. I own 65, and I own a small percentage of 65. So like, just imagine how much opportunity there is out there for anybody to go out and make a huge impact on their own life and their family's life and their community's life by sharing this information. And you know what I found? By the more that I share, the more podcasts I'm on, the more I post on social media, the more people reach out to me and they're like, dude, I came across a deal. Can I sell it to you? Came across a deal. Can we joint venture? Are you selling anything, Tim? Can I buy something from you? Can I invest with you? Do you mentor? Do you coach? Like, how can we work together? And dude, like just the education part is what feeds the investment side. And I'm able to get into deals that I couldn't have gotten into because students bring me deals. They're able to get into deals that they couldn't have gotten into because they didn't have access to the resources that I have access to now. And so it's just, dude, it's a cool way that we can all grow and all build wealth together by sharing the information. And I think it all starts with having an abundance mindset, which obviously you're exemplifying, dude, by having a podcast and by putting out so much awesome content. So, kudos to you too.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Thank you. Yeah. So, I mean, like you said, it's like, there's literally so much out there, and, to keep the information, to yourself. And it's, there's other groups out there that kind of do similar, offer similar to what you offer your group and, your network, but it still is kind of a lack. There's one, I'm not going to mention names, but it's kind of a lack. And, I really like that you emphasize that point of an abundance mindset, because that's the biggest thing. I mean, no matter where you're at, your mindset is going to shape your reality. It's going to shape how you go about your day.
For sure.
You wake up and you're just angry, or you wake up, something bothers you. That's going to carry out into your meeting. That's going to carry out into your car ride. That's going to carry out into the conversations you have with your friends, your loved ones. I mean, it's, your mindset is everything. It's such a powerful tool. And, I've invested a lot of money and time into working on my mindset. I mean, I don't come from a wealthy family, not to downplay them, but I'm in a place now where it's like, people say you lose friends. You don't lose friends, but you just you start to think differently from people. And I'm sure you can relate to that as well.
Well, dude, yeah. I mean, the tough part is like, you want everybody to succeed, right? Like guys like you and me, like we want everybody to win. We want everybody to have, to achieve at a high level. And dude, I have, when I post on social media, I have some people friends from high school and college and back home who are like, dude, I'm so proud of you. Like, you're doing amazing things. Like,
Mhm.
I'm so happy for what you built and all the awesome things that you're doing right now. And I have other friends who see it and they don't comment and they talk shit behind my back.
Yeah.
And, I call them friends, right? Uh, what you got to realize, dude, is that it's a reflection on them. It's not a reflection on me, right? They can judge, like the person being judged isn't the one that the judgment reflects. It's the person who's doing the judging that the judgment reflects. Does that make sense? Like,
Absolutely.
like they're projecting their insecurities on me, not because of the success or me talking about doing a deal and going through the economics of it. It's because the mirror gets turned in on them and they start reflecting on what they're doing or not doing with their life. And it makes them feel so uncomfortable that they need to drag somebody back down to their level. And in order for them to be, misery loves company, right? They want to commiserate. And that's just, I don't get upset when people talk shit and when people, I just feel bad for them, dude. Like early on, people would talk smack and I don't get a lot of it.
Yeah.
Right. But a little, like a single comment, I might get 100 good comments and one bad comment.
Mhm.
And dude, I would focus and zone in on that one bad comment and it would totally ruin my day for a day to 2 days.
Mhm.
Right. And then all of a sudden, I was like, you know what? Like that was like, I let it affect me. Then I elevated to a level of, you know what? F them. Right. Let me talk shit back to them and tell them how they're a loser and they need to do more with their life. And I was like, that's not really elevating. Right. And today I just ignore, it might affect me for 10 seconds and I'll laugh it off or I'll just feel bad for them. And then I delete and I block and I eliminate those people from my life. I think it's really important that if you want to succeed, you're not just adding things that successful people do to your life. You also need to subtract. And actually by subtraction, by
Mhm.
removing and eliminating negative and toxic people and toxic TV shows and toxic music and toxic influences in your life, just by accident, that space will get refilled. And chances are it's going to be more positive stuff, right? Even if it's not totally the most positive, it's going to be better than whatever was the negative stuff that you did remove. And you just keep on removing the negative stuff from your life. And, just through osmosis, the positive stuff gets filled in, gets backfilled into that. And dude, it's all of a sudden you're finding your quality of life is so much better and you're so much happier and you're so much more engaged and you're achieving at a higher level and just more things are happening for you just by removing the negative, not even adding the positive, just by removing the negative. If you do both, dude, game over.
Mhm. No, dude, I've noticed that a lot, and I really like the way you said it. It's not only adding positive but removing negative because you see guys a lot and I see this a lot in the music industry where an artist comes out, they get a hit, another hit, and then they get locked up, or it's just because they don't remove that negative. It's you see it more in the music industry, you see it sometimes in sports, but in all aspects of life and in business too. I mean, it's like we're not as in the spotlight as say like Drake, but if someone like you still has a friend that is toxic, kind of destructive in their personality, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect you. It's
Yeah.
going to affect your business. It's going to affect your life. So
Yeah, and I've come to the realization that this is a train moving, right? There's some people who are meant to be on the train for a few stops. There's some people who are meant to be on the train for the entire ride or majority of the ride or whatever. There's some people who get off, and there's some people who get back on later on in life. It's are you going to stop your train just because somebody wants to get off, like and delay your life or delay your satisfaction, or delay your family's satisfaction? Like it's just. I let them do their thing, man. I know where I'm going. I know what my path looks like. I let other people do their own thing. If they want to be part of it, I'd love to help them out. All they got to do is ask, right? Dude, I can't tell you how many people from high school or college or even family members have never even been like, how do you do what you do, right? Like, how could I go out and buy a house? How could I buy a rental property? How could I have financial freedom like you have, Tim? Like, wouldn't you think if your brother or your cousin or your nephew or your best friend or I don't know, dude. Maybe I'm wired differently, but I just think like if I saw somebody crushing it or doing something that I really wanted to do, I'd be like, hey man, how can I get involved? I'd love to do it with you, man, because I love you so much. You're my friend, you're my brother, you're my, sister, you're my sibling, you're my cousin, you're my whatever. It boggles my mind that people don't ask, right? Like all you got to do is ask. It's wild to me.
I feel like it's almost kind of it's kind of an insecurity. It's they're not going to say it or show it, but it's kind of like now you are on this pedestal. I mean, you are a larger than life character and guy now, and it's almost like it may be a bit of an ego thing where their ego's saying I'm not gonna talk to Tim.
I don't want to feed it, right?
I don't want to feed his ego. I remember him back in the day. We used to do whatever.
Drink beers, get in trouble, and get chased by the cops, or toilet paper people's houses, or whatever. Hey, and I'm still that guy. I love to drink a beer and hang out and play basketball, and I just I don't know. I as long as it's a positive influence, I'm all about it, man. Mm-hmm. I try to keep the negativity out, right? Like I try not to even put myself in those circumstances or in those situations where I know that there's people, whatever, doing things that I don't want to be involved in. And I realize that, a lot of it is just removing yourself and removing those influences, or removing yourself from that situation. Then you're not even like tempted by, doing that drug, or going to the strip club, or eating something that's fried versus eating something that's a salad, or like anything, it could be anything regarding relationships, money, your physical health, your spirituality, or your mindset, any of those things, man. I'm trying to remove the negative, add the positive.
Mm-hmm. And dude, I mean, you're a perfect example, man. You're doing things at a really high level, and I feel like now that the shift in the strategy, it's going to just keep compounding even more. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool that we've kind of we're out of the success or failure phase, right? Like I think there's several different phases in business and in life, and I think one of them is like you're either going to succeed or you're going to fail, and that's early on. I went through that for a long time. It was probably I don't know. I was bad at real estate for the first 8 years. I got pretty good about 4 or 5 years ago, Yeah. So the first 8 years were like success or failure. Then there was proof of concept. I figured it out. I wasn't like achieving at a high level, but I at least figured it out. I could keep my head above water finally, instead of these feast and famine cycles that I was going through previously. And then and now it's gotten to a point where it's feels good. It's cool. I have some influence on social media, and I understand enough about business where now it's not success or failure, or even just kind of staying steady. It's just varying levels of success, and dude, it's a new zone for me, and it's really exciting to see what can happen because, the compound growth that occurs by just keeping with something for a year and 2 years and 3 years and 5 years. Like, dude, think about my portfolio. 2015. 2012, 0 units, or essentially a house, and I ended up selling my house. So back down to 0 units, started all over. Took me 3 years to get to 140 units. Mm-hmm. Then in 2015, bought another. I had to sell those 140, but I was able to buy an 80 unit in 2015. Mm-hmm. 2016, I bought another 100. End of 2016, I bought another 190 units. Okay, mm-hmm. So now I'm up to 270 doors. 2017, I think I bought another 200, maybe 300 units. 2018, going into 2018, I had 600 doors, right? And I doubled my portfolio in June of 2018, and I was up to about 1,500 units by the end of 2018. I'm sorry. And then 2019, we went on a tear, picked up 2,000 doors. 2020, despite COVID, we picked up another 1,000 doors. 2021, we bought about 550 doors so far this year. We've been in refinement, right? We've been refinancing a lot of stuff, selling some of the small stuff, selling some of the C-class stuff, and focused on growing, taking kind of a step back in order to make many leaps forward. But dude, there's no doubt in my mind we'll buy at least another 1,000 doors by the end of the year, probably 1,500 to 2,000, and I think we'll buy probably 4,000 or 5,000 doors next year, and be at about 10,000 doors by the end of 2022 is the goal, and hit the $1 billion total asset value.
That'll be the B. That'll be the big B.
But you think about it, it's a compound effect, right? It's a snowball. It doubles every single year.
Yeah.
So the longer you're with it, dude, the more it compounds, right? I've been doing this for 12 years. And you know where 50% of my growth came from? Past 12 months, right? So it's not like it was 1/12 of the growth. It compounds and it doubles every single year if you're keeping your head down on it. So that's the key, man. It's the momentum. It's the slight edge. It's the compound effect, right? Like you read those books. They're remarkable books. And it's always working in your favor or against you. You know, it depends on the activities that you do on a daily basis. Are you focused on those revenue generating activities? Are you focused on the things that advance you and progress you? Are you eating an apple a day? Or are you eating a French fry a day? It's your choice. And those little inconsequential decisions that you make on a daily basis compound so much that after 365 days, let alone, 5 years, dude, and all of a sudden there's a difference. You're either ripped and you're cut and you're jacked and you're strong, or you're 150 pounds overweight, and it's not because you did something one time. It's because you did one small thing many times compounded over a long extended period of time. And it's simple decisions that you think don't make a difference, and they do. And dude, I'm not the best at it, right? Like last night I had a fried chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
Right? I should have gotten a friggin' salad, but I got a fried chicken sandwich.
Oh, good.
And I'm paying for it today. I'm intermittent fasting. It's 3:30 as we're recording this right now, and I haven't eaten anything today. So I'm intermittent fasting to try to burn it off. I'm going to eat one meal and taking fewer calories and better calories for me in a shorter eating window in order to try to combat the stupid ass decision that I made last night. Right. So
you still look good. You got some guns.
Working on it, dude.
Popping out. Yeah.
So yeah, man, just, it's there's a lot of moving parts, and it's not these huge decisions that are like these Herculean efforts, right? It's little things day by day, every single day. Are you reading for 20 minutes? Are you listening to a podcast for 20 minutes? Are you, hopping on a YouTube video for 20 minutes and just feeding good things into your mind, right? You can either do that, or you can watch Real Housewives or some other nonsense that doesn't give you any good value, and probably adds a negative, drama and negativity and complaining and condemning and criticizing. Dude, it's your decision, right?
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, hop on this podcast. Let's listen to this over and over again. I mean, everything you just shared, it's awesome. It's like, it's habits, it's little habits. It's little decisions you make every day, apple or fry. Apple. What does that lead to next? Work out or sleep in. It's little decisions each and every day will literally guide your life on where you're going to go. And it's crazy how it works.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy. All right, dude, that was awesome. If you had to share one thought to that young kid, if you had to share one thought to that young kid who just got his license, wants to go set the world on fire in real estate, what would you tell him?
Dude, take action, right? Like you're going to learn more by just going out and jumping in the water than you ever will by reading about swimming in a book. So I think taking action is a big deal, and getting yourself in the right rooms, right? Like be intentional about who you surround yourself with. Absolutely. That through accidents, by accident, you're going to fall ass backwards into a deal. On accident, you're going to raise money. On accident, you're going to have somebody bring you an opportunity. On accident, it's just your language is going to change. And on accident, you're going to improve your mindset. On accident, like all these different things, just by, and I say on accident, but it's by intentionally putting yourself in those rooms and just staying in the rooms, right? Like whether that's paying for a mastermind or just going out to a real estate investors association or starting your own local meetup group of entrepreneurs and success-oriented people, and being disciplined by just allowing positive mindsets in that room, dude, changed everything for me, man. When I went out to a mastermind and I realized like entrepreneurship's lonely. It's lonely at the top. Not saying it's lonely at the top of like success. It's lonely at the top of your organization where you can't have high-level conversations about business with your employees or with your friends who don't know what you're talking about because they work a job, right? Nothing wrong with that, but it's just a different, vantage point. And so dude, by putting yourself in a room of other entrepreneurs and other people who are doing some cool things, and being intentional about getting over there, like the conversations are just powerful, man. They're groundbreaking. They're revolutionary in every way. And like you can't not have success by surrounding yourself with those people. It's gonna just on accident, through osmosis, it's gonna happen. So make sure you're putting yourself in those right rooms.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Tim, thank you so much, man. Thank you for the time. That concludes today's episode. Thank you all for watching. I'm gonna drop Tim's contact in the link below, so get in touch with him, and yeah, we'll see you next week.